What's going on, America? This is Kevin in Kevin's Corner. And man, I heard this guy by the name of Nicholas Freitas. I think he's a delegate in, I forget what state, but he punched every Democrat and liberal right in the mouth when he gave a speech about gun control. And what he was really focusing on exposed all the motives and tactics of the left when it comes down to gun control, because they never want to have serious, practical debate. They don't want to come up with real solutions for gun violence, none of that. Because, see, let's be real. If they were serious about reducing the amount of violence or deaths from guns, then they would be really focused on all of the people around the United States that get killed every day with handguns. But they're going after a certain particular type of gun, and they're going after a certain type of group of people who are getting killed. See, when you look at kids getting killed, those are tragedies that they could benefit off of and push their legislation. When you look at all the black kids that's being killed around the United States by handguns that supersede all of the mass shootings, they never come out and say, let's do something about this. But if a mass shooting takes place and there's a certain demographic of people who gets killed, then all of a sudden they jump on the board of gun control. And when you try to debate them, it comes down to, I can't believe that you oppose stricter gun laws. I don't have to prove to you how they will better the situation, how our gun laws will reduce murders or crime, how our gun laws make any practical sense. All I need to do is tell you there are children dying. Now, are your guns more important than kids' lives? Does your relationship with the NRA, does it supersede all the kids that are killed daily by mass shootings in this AR-15, huh? Because to them, the NRA is this big boogeyman, this big drug dealer that stands on the corner with his jacket open selling guns to kids. Hey, kid, come over here. I got a couple AR-15s for you. Got some shotguns. They don't focus on any facts to prove why we should increase it. They simply prey on people's feelings and emotions and tragedies and cause people to either shut up when it comes to gun debate, or people that are not seeing the bigger picture will, out of emotion, anger, fear, whatever, willfully agree to certain legislation and end up giving up their rights, and then it backfires on them later on. And I'm going to bring up a point. If you didn't see The Walking Dead from last night, then you might not want to watch the rest of this video. But anyway, he talks about how starting off with the debate, you must start with respect. You cannot have a debate about gun control if the first thing you do is say, you're not allowed to talk because you support guns. I'm like, well, I thought we were debating about gun control. See, no. See, if you support guns, then basically what you are, you're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a discriminate person towards black people, white people, children. They throw all of these negative connotations out there to make the debate turn into a feel emotional thing. We don't have to prove anything. No facts, no reasoning. We don't want a solution. We have one goal and objective in mind. So throw all of the logic out the window. And he talked about how we can have that debate if we deal with practical things that really will work. But all of the suggestions that are being made, you haven't done any data to show that increasing this or taking this away will stop it. Instead, you're focusing on the guns. You're not asking reasonable questions like, okay, these mass shootings, where do they normally take place? Gun-free zones. Arguments like, why don't we arm teachers? And then when they say things like, man, that's ridiculous, they're so adamant against all the suggestions because I think they only want one outcome, which is gun legislation. We don't care if you give us the best practical solution ever. If it does not fit our agenda, we're going to say it's dumb, it's stupid, get it out of here. So he busted them with that. And then he talked about how the bias reports are put out there. And nobody talks about this. They will bring up all the mass shootings, but they don't bring out all of the people who were saved because of being able to protect themselves, all the rapes that's been prevented, all of the murders that's been prevented, all of the burglaries that's been prevented. How about the shooting down in Texas at the church where the one guy goes in with his AR and then another guy that happened to be an NRA member came out with his AR and chased the dude off and ended up shooting him. And speaking of that, all of this big debate over gun control and the NRA, guess what I did today? I joined the NRA myself. I paid my membership. I'm getting in right now before they start getting crazy. When they do this, all it does is it makes Americans that support the Second Amendment, their antennas go up. It's like, wait a minute. What are they up to? What are they trying to do here? You know what? I'm now going to support. See, I was indifferent. I support the Second Amendment, but I wasn't necessarily involved in the NRA. But because of all the rhetoric and they're trying to make it seem like the NRA is responsible for all this, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to now join the NRA. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to support that. It's kind of like how the left whines about stuff and people aren't really thinking about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, since you're going to whine about it, now I'm going to do it. You know, the same thing with the military parade. You know, I could care less. I mean, I support our military, but when Trump suggested it and all the left was like, this is crazy. If they do this, this is like Hitler. This is that's horrible. Like Mussolini, what does he think he is? Now all of a sudden I'm going, well, I was indifferent about a parade, but now I want one because you're whining about it. So he talked about how they try to shut down debate with throwing out all type of biased stats. And then he also mentioned how the government will sit back and say, leave protecting you up to us. We'll do it. You don't need the guns. Just call us. Hello. Well, guess what? In this application in Florida, they were warned several times. FBI, local police, all of that. And then showed up and didn't do nothing. The initial police officers on the scene. And so to tell me that nobody else should have a weapon inside that school, or there's no other options except for taking guns away, and you haven't dealt with the first line of reaction. You just went way outside of any practical solutions and said, let's go straight to gun control. I'm going, well, let's deal with some in-house things that we could have done to prevent this. Let's put some things in place. Why do we have to have a gun-free zone, especially if all the data shows that people who want to kill a lot of people go to gun-free zones? That's logic right there. But the left don't want to talk about that. And then he goes on to talk about the support of teachers. He talked about that. And then he goes on and he says, it's hard to debate with the left because really nobody really believes that that's all they want. It's just to protect the kids from mass shootings. Nobody believes that the dirty Dems are really just trying to go after the AR, because when they make these policies and proposals and laws, and then all of a sudden those don't work, then it's going to be something else. Now we need to go after this gun. Now we need to go after that gun, because the stuff that they're proposing will not work. They're only putting restrictions on law-abiding citizens. So what happens when unlawful citizens get the guns again, steal the guns, buy them off the street, commit another mass murder? Then it's going to be another legislation that doesn't punish the right people. It's going to go after the people that are law-abiding citizens, and it's let the criminals run free. So instead of putting in protections in places to keep people from attacking vulnerable places, soft targets, they're going after the wrong thing. They're going after the wrong population. It's like a salesman who's selling to the wrong audience. You know what I'm saying? You're sitting back and you're selling a product to a group of people who it doesn't apply to. I go into an old folks home talking about, hey, I got these basketballs. Y'all want to get these basketballs? I'm telling you, man, they're hot. Get them while I'm trying to advertise to the wrong audience. And so with gun control, they're going after the wrong people. And he brings that up and punches them right in the face. And then he talks about how the left starts off with entering in on a false premise and trying to shame you and tell you, don't you debate me on this, because then that must mean you are evil. And nobody really trusts that that's their true agenda. Now, let me give you an example. This is the point where you want to turn it off if you are a Walking Dead fan and you didn't watch last night's episode. Perfect example of why not to trust just whoever is in control when it comes down to your personal safety. Rick and Nishon, some of my favorite characters, goes into, I guess, this one group of people who they had made this partnership with. And these people were isolated off to themselves. They trusted their own people with guns and stuff. And Negan, if you know anything about The Walking Dead, he's the big dictator who basically says, I'll protect all of y'all. I want all y'all guns and I will call the shots, and it ain't going to be no self-protection. So they go in and they have the nerve to talk the leader of this group out of protecting themselves. When they first came in, they all had guns. And the guy smooth talked them. Just give us the guns. Look, we don't want no trouble. We can go back to the way things were. And if you need the guns, we'll give them to you. But if you really need protection, just trust us. And I'm sitting there the whole time watching like, don't do it. Don't do it. They gonna get you, man. They sucking you out of your guns and you falling for it. And the lady said, okay, I'm gonna trust you. Boom. Give them the guns. Look what happened. Bang, 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 bang. Kill everybody. And I'm not saying that's the extreme that's going to happen in the U.S. It's an example of what not to do, though. When you say, okay, that sounds like a good idea, I guess. I mean, what could it hurt to just give up one type of gun? Okay, another gun? Okay, well, we still got guns. Then 8 months later, well, maybe we need to ban all semi-automatic weapons. That means anything you pull like that, gotta go, except a revolver. Well, you know what? I mean, look at this. If we just take guns all away, then, you know, we run more of a chance of preventing any type of gun violence. And then it's a matter of time before now, God forbid, the dollar crashes, the economy goes belly up, everybody man for himself, and chaos break out, zombie apocalypse. Now I'm running around with a slingshot. Asking myself, why did I give up my guns? Because they booed me out of it. Boo scared me. Yeah, you know, anything could happen. You could be in your job. Somebody come in with an AR-15 and start shooting up y'all. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't want that to happen. Let me, okay, what I got to do? Here, take my guns. I just don't want that. But by the way, how are y'all going to stop them from coming in here and doing it again? Well, we don't want to talk about that. We ain't got to worry about that right now. Just first things first, just give us your guns. And now we vulnerable. So he broke that down. And he showed how they always go too far. The left always starts off passive. And then when it comes to legislation, they want to take everything. Look at this. Look how it started off with the whole gay marriage thing. We want the same benefits as a married couple. Under a civil union, we don't get a chance to be, you know, receiving all the benefits of insurance, blah, blah, blah. Fine. We'll give you all of those benefits, okay, under the title of civil union. Then, okay, thank you. By the way, now we want the title of marriage. That's a biblical term, okay? But they want to dibble in there. They always talk about separation of state and church. Now it's like we're going to go stick our knuckles right into the Bible and change the definition of marriage and make you guys accept that marriage does not have to be a union between a man and a woman. We want that title. There's always a bigger agenda. How about the don't ask, don't tell? We're upset because we couldn't get into the military because we were gay. They're asking us personal questions. Fine. Tell you what, we won't ask. You ain't got to tell. That should solve it, right? They get that, but then later on, it's like, you know what? Now let's get rid of that because we want to be able to openly come into the military and say, guess what? I'm gay. I'm proud. Me as a heterosexual man, I don't feel the need if I signed up for the military to say, I just want everybody to know I am heterosexual. Okay? That's your personal private business. It always goes too far. Transgender operations, things like that, gender reassignment. Started off, we want insurance to cover this because on the inside, I feel like the opposite sex. And so therefore, I think it was a mix-up. God must have made a mistake while I was on the assembly line. You know, I'm going down, he's like, oh, shoot, we left the apple stem off of that one. Forget it. They'll fix it on earth. So we want the insurance companies to take care of this. Then it went from that to now we want everybody to be hypersensitive to titles. You can't say Mr. and Mrs. You can't. Now we want all the bathrooms to be neutral. We're just going to invade the whole population based off of a small percentage of people who feel these things are necessary. So that makes people that are conservative go, no. I like to trust your motive, but I got a feeling once you get your foot in the door, now you're going to come in and take over my whole crib. So he broke that down and hurt him deep. All right. And then he broke it down and said how his speech shut them all up. It made all the Democrats just leave. They were, I'm offended. Then they saw that this one black guy gets on there and he's talking about how offended he was. And he was offended because the Congress, or this gentleman, I don't know if he's a congressman or not. He's a delegate. He's running for something. But anyway, he was offended because this dude was saying how all the left does is say, you know what? You guys are like Nazis. They always make these dramatic comparisons. And then he said, and segregationists. And he said, that offends me, especially coming from the Democrats who all of their history, they have tried to erase the whole history of the Democratic Party being against segregation, being against women voting, being against all kind of stuff. And Everything that dealt with segregation, racism, discrimination, all came out of the Democratic Party. And he said, okay, I'm not saying that all of y'all are like that now, but it is absolutely strange that y'all, that's the first go-to. And y'all try not to just reflect for a second and say, wait a minute, we are the biggest perpetrators of the stuff that we accusing all of the Republicans of being. Just like, for example, they accuse Donald Trump of being a dictator. He's a dictator, authoritarian. He's going to take over like Hitler. Why would he support the Second Amendment if that's what he was? Think about that, people. If he was saying, I want to dominate and take over everything, he'd be like Hitler. Everyone wants to go and get the guns out of the house, no? Yeah, he would be doing stuff like that. But he said, no. Keep your guns just in case I wake up and lose my mind and decide to invoke tyranny upon the people. Y'all can protect yourselves. Or just in case you sleeping and you hear something break in the middle of the night, you ain't got to go down there with nothing but a hand with skin on it to defend yourself. And so Donald Trump is not a dictator because he supports stuff that would be able to fight against a dictatorship. Think about this type of stuff and not be bought into the propaganda. So what people do on the left is when they can't defend themselves against a practical, logical argument, statement, or something like that, they fall back on, I'm offended. Okay, meaning this, I don't want to debate you. I can't really rebuttal against what you said because it makes too much practical sense. So I'm just going to fall back on, I'm offended. That should be enough to shut you up and make you leave me alone. Okay, that's their full argument. This dude exposed all of it. He just opened up the book and read them to the point where they were like, oh man, that was, oof. Let's break for recess. We'll be back in 20. I bet you they was at the water cooler afterwards like, man, how do we recover? That brother broke it down. Now look, we got to regroup, okay? We've been exposed. So now let's talk about our new game plan of propaganda. What type of false information we gonna get of people? You know what? Let's go with, I'm offended. Let's go with that, okay? Because see, when you offended, then people got to be sensitive to your offense, your feelings. They ain't got to prove facts or nothing. We just go, I'm offended. Why? Because of what he said. What did he say? All kind of stuff which offended me. And that's the whole argument of the left. Makes no sense. If you get a chance, check it out. His name is Nicholas Freitas. And he gave them, it's on my Facebook page. Check out my Facebook page. Or it's also posted in Minorities for Trump. And like I said, it was so powerful that I said, I got to make a video about it. Got to. This was one of them. I said, I got to give my opinion about this man. Awesome guy. I hope the people in this area vote for him. Because I tell you, man, when you look at this debate that's going on right now, they got a bigger agenda. They're gunning for the guns. That's what they're doing. So, God bless you. You've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. Wednesday. And right now it's March 5th, just in case you're watching this video 5 years from now. And you're like, what is he talking about Wednesday? Well, March 5th, 2018. Okay, that's where I'm at right now. But anyway, this Wednesday is the first episode of my blog radio talk show, Kevin's Corner. And I'll have a co-host with me. She's going to be talking about some good stuff. We can be sharing some information. Check us out. The link of this will also be in the bottom. If you want to support Kevin's Corner, please do. I'm sure once they listen to one word of this video and hear gun control, they're going to demonetize me. You know how it goes. But anyway, God bless you. See you next time in Kevin's Corner.